Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
It's great to be here, Rachel. Always good to see you. And thanks for having me.
Well, want to ask you, why run for mayor and why now?
I get asked that question a lot. Some people say, are you crazy? Is my wife crazy? Here's why I'm running for mayor. I'm Jewish, and growing up, there was a concept that really hit home to me. A concept in my faith called tikkun olam, which is Hebrew and translates into English into repair the world. It's a very simple concept, but one that I find really powerful. That every day, in ways large and small, personally or professionally, we should each try to make the world a better place than when it was in the morning when we woke up. And so that's something that always meant a lot to my wife, Rachel, and me, and a concept that we tried to instill into our boys. And I was thinking about the next chapter in my life and my love of the city and my belief in Louisville and my desire for Louisville to be an even better, stronger, healthier version of itself. This concept of tikkun olam, repairing the world, kept coming back to me. So I decided to leave my job at CEO of 21C Museum Hotels a few years ago and run for mayor, because I think most people in the city agree that right now our city's in need of repair. It's in need of repair. It's in need of revitalization. It's in need of unification. It's in need of energy, of strong leadership, but also a strong team of bringing people together in the city to implement all the solutions that we know need to have to be implemented in our city. I don't think we need any more studies. We all know what the problems are. We all know what many great solutions are. And so I'm a person of action, and I'm a person of energy who wants to get things done. And I think most people in Louisville share that sense of urgency that I have right now. And so I'm running for mayor to try to bring people like that together, that share that sense of urgency for making meaningful change in our city, and together to build a safer and healthier Louisville. So that's why I'm running for mayor.
And then the now is because of everything that's happened with COVID, with protests, with all of that. We'll talk about that repair in just a minute. You mentioned 21C. So most people know you as a businessman, helped develop Whiskey Row as an attorney, Ohio Valley Wrestling, I guess, as well.
Yes, that's right.
So mostly the businessman background. So has that prepared you? And you've likely heard the comparisons that the current mayor also came from the business world. Are those fair comparisons to say that you all are alike? Are you different? Where does that comparison start, end, and is that even a fair comparison?
Sure. Well, I hope people judge me for who I am. And I view myself as an entrepreneur, but someone who has a wealth of unique experiences that I can bring to the role of mayor, and importantly, in assembling a team to have a strong, diverse administration to really lead this city and make the meaningful change that's needed with a sense of urgency right now. I grew up in Louisville, attending Jefferson County Public Schools. Education has always been important to me and my family. My parents started their careers as public school teachers in New York City before they moved to Louisville. My wife, Rachel, she was a public school teacher at Wheatley Elementary School. So again, my desire to focus some on education and helping to improve education from universal pre-K to workforce training for adults really stems from my background in the public education family that I come from is really important to me. And then, I was an attorney, as you mentioned. I've always viewed myself as an entrepreneur and starting a business, but really one of the most important experiences that I had that I think prepares me well for being mayor is my experience on the University of Louisville Board of Trustees, where I was one of the first with my colleagues to really start sounding the bell and drawing attention to the fact that there was excessive compensation being paid at this important public institution, that there were other financial irregularities that I don't think were being focused on. And what I learned from that experience was that transparent organizations are stronger organizations. And it's very important for leaders to be transparent and accountable within the organization and to the community. And so as I'm running for mayor, that experience really weighs heavily on me. And I'm committed to, as mayor, to having a city government, whether it's the police department or any department in Louisville, to be transparent and to be accountable. And I expect everyone in Louisville to hold me as mayor accountable. So those are just some of my experiences that are really guiding me as I move forward with being mayor. So I don't think comparing me to any individual or any of the candidates to any under one individual is appropriate. I hope people look at me for who I am, and I'm a looking forward person. So I'm not interested in talking about the past or talking about any one individuals, but what we as a city and what we as a team and an administration can do to really help implement the change that Louisville really desperately needs.
You did take one of the questions right off my plate, because I was going to mention that U of L trustees, because that was a real turning point that you sounded the alarm on that, and transparency became a very big word at that university at that. So that was one thing I definitely wanted to talk to you about as well. Let me ask you this as well. So some have said the next person needs to have that public service experience going into this. We have so many complex problems. One has even said we don't need a rookie to come into the race and that kind of thing. What do you do with that as far as people might go, but you don't have experience maybe in this sector or whatever? Does that matter?
I would say a few things. First, I think I have the relevant experience. I think what Louisville needs right now in mayor is someone with a sense of urgency, somebody with the energy, drive, the ability to assemble a diverse, empowered team of people who share that sense of urgency to implement solutions and make things happen and implement the change that's needed in Louisville, to the focus on public safety, to improve public education, to address our homeless crisis, to build more affordable housing. And so that's why I think I have the relevant experience, energy, and sense of urgency to be the next mayor. And to those who say, what about government experience? I would ask those people right back, if they're in government now, what have they been doing to address the problems that we face as a community? We need new leadership in this city. We need a new sense of urgency. We need new ideas. We need new energy. We need new creativity. And that's what I'm so excited about, is bringing new people into government to address the challenges that did not happen overnight. They've been building over time. And so for people who are in government right now and say that just, to me, doesn't ring true, because I would ask them what they've been doing to address our public safety crisis that's been building over years, what they've been doing to address our affordable housing crisis, what they've been doing to address our homeless crisis, what they've been doing to improve public education. And so that's my response to that.
Well, and I think with those last points, my next thing is, so your priorities, if you had to list the top three. So public safety, I know, has been one, education one. If you had to list those top three, what would they be?
I think by far the first and most important thing is addressing our violent crime crisis and ensuring that every person in Louisville, regardless of where they live, is safe and feels safe. And so that is going to be my number one priority as mayor, is working with the police department to have the best trained, trusted, and transparent police department in all of America. That's my goal. But also acknowledging that we can't just police our way to a safe city, and that we need to invest in communities, neighborhoods, people, and institutions that have been overlooked and ignored for far too long. Invest in community centers, invest in programs, invest in after-school job programs for youth and young adults. Things like that are all part of my all-in public safety plan to comprehensively address our public safety crisis so that everyone in Louisville is safe.
And
Beyond,
oh, no, go ahead. I was going to say, I want to tack on to that. You've already had a roundtable about that, where you've been picking everyone's brain. Is that so? If you do win, you hit the ground running? What was it that you said, I'm going to have a roundtable on this now?
Well, it's because I've been doing a lot of listening as I've been running. I think that's something that's also very important for a leader, is not just to come in with their own ideas. That's important. But as, or probably more importantly, it's important to listen to others, because there are so many people in our city that have interesting and important life experiences, professional and personal, that they can and should be sharing, so that as a leader, you can identify what the best solution is. Because at the end of the day, I'm all about results. I don't care if it's my idea or someone else's idea. I care about implementing solutions that are going to make meaningful change for people all across Louisville, so that every child has hope and opportunity, so that everyone has the opportunity for a good career path, good paying job, so that everyone feels safe, so that people can afford their homes, so that there's not homeless people living in the streets that we should be helping as a community, and that others can live in the way that they want to live. All of those things, there are great ideas out there. So yes, I held a public safety roundtable where we brought together people in law enforcement, judges, formerly incarcerated individuals, clergy, medical professionals, reform advocates, to find the best possible ideas for our city and then talk about implementing them now. And I hope that the city right now shares this sense of urgency and implements these and other solutions, because this is a crisis that cannot wait. It can't wait for the next mayor. And so programs like group violence intervention that have been proven across the country to reduce violent crime significantly have started to be implemented now. And I'm encouraging the city and other city leaders to continue focusing on that, to implement programs like that, so that by the time the next mayor is inaugurated into office, we've made improvement from where we are right now. We cannot afford to wait.
Let's
And I
talk
also,
about
one other thing on the public safety roundtable, I've done that with other issues also. I convened a group of people who support homeless individuals and got them together. We had a great meeting at the Salvation Army to get their ideas on what the city can and should be doing to address the homeless crisis. So it's way more than public safety as well. I believe in listening to people and then implementing those solutions and making them happen.
one thing you talked about, with the police, the trust after the Breonna Taylor case, and of course, after the protests. How do you get trust back and bridge that divide with the public and police? Are we making headway, and how do we get that back? Because that's been a huge issue in this community.
Absolutely. I think transparency, which we talked about earlier, is critically important. And I also think being present. I think it's the job of the mayor to listen to people who are impacted by issues. And even when those people are upset, when they're angry, when they don't agree with the mayor, when they're from a political party, whatever the differences are, I think it's important for any leader to listen and to be willing to meet people on their own terms, in their own homes, in their own neighborhoods, to listen, to learn, and to act. And so that's one way. And then also, I think it's going to take action. I understand that people want to see changes. I've talked a lot about working with the police department to work with the good men and women that are in our LMPD right now, to provide them with even more resources so they can have more training, whether it's in de-escalation or racial bias training or community policing, so that as they're on working neighborhoods and they're getting to know clergy, as they're getting to know neighborhood leaders, as they're getting to know other formerly incarcerated individuals, they start to build these personal relationships, which builds that trust. And so I think it might take a little bit of time, but again, I think it's about transparency and accountability. I expect the community and the city to hold me as mayor accountable, and I as mayor will ensure to hold the police department accountable as well, just like every other department in all of city government.
One big issue that's obviously been bubbling up, as well as with Metro Corrections and the fact that the jail, we've had 6 inmates now in the past 3 months or whatever it is that I believe. What about that? What would you do? Because I know that's another one that it's like, how long do we wait on this?
Well, and there's another great example of where we held a roundtable last fall, working with the men and women in the corrections officers. We convened a community corrections crisis summit where we brought together reform advocates, formerly incarcerated individuals, families of those who are currently incarcerated, and judges and many other community advocates to talk about the crisis in the jail and to sound the alarm. Unfortunately, since that period of time, not enough has changed, and people who are in the jail have lost their lives. That's totally unacceptable. And so my view is, if the current leadership of the jail cannot make the needed changes that are needed right now, they should be resigned or immediately replaced. This is another crisis that cannot wait, and there's a solution. We need more corrections officers. And I also think we need to be focusing more on some of the programs that are within the jail, because the jail sees way too many familiar faces that keep coming back. And so I would like to focus more on the programs to prevent, to give people who are in jail better hope and opportunity, enrichment and educational experiences. So when they are released, they have more hope and opportunity, and they have a new path on life, so that they don't end up back ensnarled in the legal system. And so there's a lot that can and should be done right now. I'm advocating for that as loud as I can as a candidate, but I'm committed. Again, I hope that issue is improved by the time I would have the opportunity to be mayor in January. but I'm also committed as mayor to making that an absolute priority. To me, that is part of the public safety solution.
Let me ask you about the fact that after everything that happened, you had two activists jump into the race saying that Louisville's not ready for real change. Do you think that you could bring about real change? And how do you widen the tent to make sure that you are a mayor for all, especially people who have not felt part of that real change or feel they haven't seen it?
Absolutely. I'm committed to real change. I'm committed to a diverse, empowered administration that with me is going to lead this change in our city. And so I plan to have an administration that is diverse by race, age, gender, geography, personal and professional life experiences. That's what makes a strong team. And I think that having strong teammates and then a strong administration and then empowering those great people that share a common vision to get things done and holding them accountable, that's what this city needs. We also need volunteers from across the entire city that want to work together. And I think showing that commitment to unifying the city is critically important and what we need right now, because I've been across the entire city. One of the things that I'm doing during my campaign that has been most enjoyable for me is running through every precinct. In Louisville, there are 623 voting precincts in our city. As of this morning, I have literally run through 503 of those 623 precincts. So over the next month, I will have literally stepped foot in every corner of this city. I've seen it myself with my own eyes, and I've met people across our entire city and listened to them. And what I've learned is that we share a lot more in common than we do apart, than we have differences. Regardless of your party, regardless of your race, gender, or where you live, people want a safe city. People want their kids to have the best possible education. People want more opportunities for good career path, well-paying jobs. People are concerned about affordable housing. People are concerned about the homeless crisis. And so these are issues that we can all work on together. So I think right now what Louisville wants and need is a mayor who can bring people together and then get to work immediately. And that's something that I've done my entire life in my professional and civic life. And that's something that I'm very excited to do if I have the good fortune to be the next mayor of Louisville.
I know you have also said that you would work in tandem with Metro Council. Yesterday, you got the endorsement of 6 council members. You had to be pleased by that. I saw a little bit of pushback with people saying, is that too soon for people to endorse before the primary? What's your response to that? And I guess, is this unprecedented that you would have that? And what do you say to the people who push back saying, is this too soon for Metro Council to endorse someone before a primary?
The primary is in 90 days. It's going to be here in the blink of an eye. So it's not too soon. I think what that reflects is my commitment to building relationships. And so I've been reaching out to elected officials, not just on Metro Council, but in our state delegation and in others to really build relationships, because ultimately we need to work together and you work with people who you have relationships with. And so I was thrilled, humbled, and honored by the endorsement of 6 members of Metro Council yesterday, from east to west, north to south, central. Again, a diverse group of individuals who are committed to working with me, not just on my campaign, but beyond, to implement these changes. And that's reflective of the type of administration that I'm going to have. And it's also reflective of my commitment to work with Metro Council to make our city government as efficient as possible and as responsive as possible to the public. Unfortunately, in the recent past, there has been a strained relationship between the executive branch and Metro Council. And that doesn't benefit anyone. It certainly doesn't benefit the city. I'm committed to reversing that and working with everyone. And one other thing that I want to add is that I'm committed to working with everyone in both parties. To me, being mayor is not a partisan job. The issues that we've been talking about, public safety, affordable housing, improving education, homeless, the climate, those are not partisan issues. Those are local issues that we need to solve together. And so whether it's working with Democrats and Republicans on the Metro Council, or whether it's working with the Republican-controlled legislature in Frankfurt, we need to all work together, find the areas of common ground that improve Louisville's trajectory and improve people's lives here in Louisville. And that's what I'm going to do. So I've been reaching out to people of both parties. I had a great tour of a Metro Council district with a Republican member of the council. I've reached out to Republicans in Frankfurt to continue to build the relationships that I had with them, because again, we all need to work together. If we just continue and throw dirt at each other or fight about issues that we can't control, then we'll never work together on these important issues. So yesterday, I think, was one of the highlights of the campaign and one of the most important days of our campaign, because it showed that there's going to be this great team of people from across the city who work together to make things happen.
Let me ask you another question about fundraising. You've had the good fortune to have a lot of money rolling in, a lot of endorsements. So are you that good, or are you that organized?
Well, I think that it's a testament to the strength of my campaign team. It's a testament to how hard we've all been working. I've been working on this. I got in the race last April. I thought it was very important that for somebody who wants to be mayor, that they reflect the type of mayor they will be by their campaign. And so I've been working 24/7 on this campaign. I'll work 24/7 as mayor to reach out to anyone who's interested in talking and to seek their support, even if we don't agree on everything, to build a safer city, to build a stronger and healthier city. So I'm very humbled by the support that I've received from across the city. I'm very humbled by the support I've received from organized labor. I've been endorsed by the firefighters union, by SEIU, by the laborers, LIUNA, really to show the broad base of support that I have from people across the entire city. And that's been by developing relationships, getting to know each other, and having the opportunity to really share a common goal to get things done for Louisville. So I'm not going to stop, and winning the election is just one more goal, but then then the real work begins.
I have just a couple more questions for you. If people don't know you that well, how would you describe, I hear the words accountability and transparency. On a personal level, what would you say? How would you describe your style, your philosophy of life that might give us a glimpse into what they're going to get?
Well, I'm all about family. For me, that's where it all starts. I'm very fortunate to have an amazing wife, Rachel, who we've been together for 24 years now. And we have the good fortune to have two amazing young sons, Daniel and Benjamin, and a freshman in college, a junior in high school. And really just the strength of my family bond is something that motivates me. And I think really is what motivates so many people, is the desire to provide for your family and to give your kids the opportunity to do whatever they want to do in life. That's what motivates me, not just for my kids, but for all Louisville kids, because I am keenly aware that my children have had opportunities that far too many kids in Louisville have not had. And I want everyone in Louisville and every child in Louisville to have those same opportunities. So that's what motivates me. That's why I'm so passionate about working on a plan to implement universal pre-K, so that all 3 and 4-year-olds in Louisville have a great start on life with their educational system. And my view is that on universal pre-K is that right now, when Louisville's on the map for some of the wrong reasons, let's reach out to some of the largest philanthropies across the nation, foundations that have hundreds of billions of dollars. And let's ask them to put Louisville on the map for the right reason. Let's ask them to invest in a 10-year plan so that we have the infrastructure, the resources, the teachers that we need, so that every 3 and 4-year-old has the opportunity to get a great start on their educational career. So that's something that really motivates me. I also mentioned in my spare time, I love to run. I like to be with my family. And as you mentioned, right now, I'm a co-owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is a real Louisville icon. It's an institution that's been around for 30 years here in Louisville. And that's one of the other things that I believe in what's in Louisville, is we have some great, unique icons and assets here in the city. We don't need to aspire to be like any other city in America. We need to be the best version of Louisville that we can be. We have unique architecture. We have unique neighborhoods. We have people with great character. We have institutions with great characters. We have sporting events and festivals that are so unique to Louisville. I want to invest in those icons, that great history and tradition of Louisville. And then let's create some new history and tradition together to make it an even more exciting, vibrant, safe, and healthy city.
Two more questions. Give me the top 2 characteristics of what it takes to be a good mayor.
The top 2 characteristics: good person. I think somebody with a sense of urgency or energy is critically important because this is a demanding job and one that requires 24/7 attention and nonstop energy. And also, I think someone who can listen, because listening is critically important. No one has all the answers, and there's so many great people in Louisville who have so many great ideas and so much that they can give back to their city and want to give back. And so listening to people's ideas and identifying people who want to be a part of the solution is critically important, because that's what we need. And that's the job of the mayor, to identify people inside and outside of city government who have that commitment to action and want to be part of the solution to make meaningful change here in our city.
And final question, where do you see hope? Because there's been, with COVID, with the protests, with everything that's happened, it's easy to lose hope. Where do you see hope in Louisville?
I see hope every day as I'm running across the city, as I'm meeting new people. People love Louisville. People love their neighborhood. People love their family. People want things to get better, and they want to help be a part of the solution. People are tired of division. They're tired of anger. They just want to work together. And so there's a sense of frustration, yes. But they also believe that when we work together, we can make things happen. That's why people still live in Louisville. And so as mayor, I think it will be my job to bring those people together and really to help start implementing these solutions to make Louisville a safer city, a healthier city, a stronger city, a more vibrant city. And so I'm a very optimistic and forward-thinking person. I'm running for mayor not because of the challenges of today or the problems of the past, but for the opportunity of tomorrow. And I'm convinced more than ever, as I've gotten to know thousands of people since I've started this campaign, that more people than not in Louisville share the common goals and have that same desire for Louisville to be an even more amazing city than it is today.
Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. It's always great to see you.